On behalf of Keame Tug of War, I'd like to welcome you all here this afternoon. We're here to acknowledge and honour all those that were involved with Keame Tug of War in the 60s, 70s and 80s. And in particular, we're here to honour Keame's best ever team, the 1975 640 Senior All-Ireland champions. After this now, we'll be unveiling this plaque here, which is in memory to all those involved. We'd like to call on John Manley and Councillor Willie Leary to do the unveiling of the plaque. Well done. I call on Dan McCarthy, President of the World Tug of War Association, to say a few words now. Man, Dan.
Hello everybody and welcome to Keame. Believe it or believe it not, a friend of mine, Ray O'Brien, and myself came down from Cork to train with Keame on their last two occasions in the training session. I hope that wasn't what concluded their session when they see the two of us saying we're not going to get too far with them two men anyway. But let that be beside the point. It's a privilege for me as President of the World Tug of War Association to have been invited here today. I know a lot of familiar faces through one business or another. In 1969, the Keame won the Novice Championship. In 1974, they were beaten in the final, went on to win the 640 final in 1975. Went further than that and represented Ireland in Holland in the preceding year, and unfortunately only finished fifth. But at that time, the competition was stiff. It's a great privilege to see so many people here today. The weather is really in your favour. I won't keep you long more. Since then, tug of war has been on the upgrade. After 75, Ireland were represented on numerous occasions by the famous Bowley team. And it's great to see a representative from Bowley here today, Bill Keogh, who has won several World Championships since. So listen, without any further ado, have a great evening. We'll meet above in Case County for a cup of tea and maybe something stronger. Talk to you later.
Thank you. We'll now call on Dinjo Dunley to say a few words. Chairman of the Munster Board.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure to be invited here today. My memories of Keame, we were fairly young at the time. You mightn't think so by looking at me, but I was. I remember one time we went down to Kilbree of a Sunday evening to a festival pull with the club on a bus, and whatever time we came back, the free travel going to school was starting the Monday morning after, and at 8 o'clock near Fermoy, where I come from, the same bus and the same driver picked us up. So that's a long time ago. This plaque, it's a beautiful plaque, and it's great to see that people remember tug of war in this area. I hope that we may see a team again coming from somewhere around here, because tug of war in Ireland at the moment is fairly slow. But hopefully it's a great honour again, and thanks to everyone, and have an enjoyable evening in Case County. Thanks.
Thanks, Dinjo. I now call on Pat Lee, Secretary of the Munster Board, to say a few words.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, councillors, great to see such a big crowd here today on this great occasion of the unveiling of this fabulous plaque produced by the Keame Tug of War people for the Keame, in honour of the Keame Tug of War teams over the years. Now, I can remember the Keame going back a long, long time to the very early 80s, and they were a super team. And as they built themselves up over the years, up till, I suppose, the 75 when they won the national and they went to represent Ireland in Holland, they were the top class team of Munster, and it was impossible to beat them. I remember over the years, we nearly killed ourselves time and time again trying to beat them. And I'd say out of 9 out of 10, we might be lucky to beat them once or twice. There was some team. So fair play to them, and they were great to keep tug of war going here in Munster. And I'd like to say a big thank you to the Keame people who done this plaque, and Pat Cronin, I think, done most of the work to get it up and running. And it's a great honour to see it here, and hopefully in years to come there'll be another team come out of Keame, and that they will produce the same goods as the Tasman did. So hopefully we'll see tug of war back here in Keame again in the near future. Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Pat. Thank you. Could we get Pat Tobin, President Munster Board, to say a few words, please? If he's here, he's here.
I'm very good in yourself. I'm very good. Welcome all here this evening to this great occasion. I'd like to, on behalf of the Munster Tug of War Board, I'd like to congratulate the 1975 team for their success, and also for representing Ireland very good in Europe. Also, they were a very sporting team. I haven't much to say because it was in later years we used to be pulling for Ballyhoolig in Keame, and we had many a struggle, but they were always very good and sporting. And I wish you all a very successful evening and enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Pat. Catherine Murphy now is going to, she's Pat Buckley and Mrs. Buckley's daughter. She's going to say a few words. We'll be here for a while.
Oh, sorry now.
All right.
I'm just nervous. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not accustomed to speaking, so I have to have my notes. Ladies and gentlemen, councillors, it is not just an honour, but an absolute privilege to be invited here today to represent my late dad, in particular Pat Buckley, or Pat the Sandman. He was one of 4 friends, Mick Hassett, Nate Fitzgerald, P.T. Driscoll, and they had the foresight and vision to start and follow through a club here in Keame. I consider this to be one of the first teams of Keame. The second team, of course, were those members of the club who trained long and hard, struggled to get on the team, struggled to stay on the team, and struggled week in, week out to bring glory and honour to this small locality in County Cork. They brought us not alone to the highways and byways of Cork, but Limerick, Tipperary, Leitrim, Louth, Wexford and beyond. There were no Google Maps in those days, but we always managed to find the venues. Going home after the competitions though, well, that was a different story. Well, we had to have the postmortems, didn't we? These were invariably held in the local hostelries like the Big Tree in Ahern, the Pike in Dungarvan, that pub in New Ross I can't remember the name of, and I can recall several sing-songs late into the nights. One night in particular, well, it was morning actually, the birds were singing as we drove back from Inchydoney. I was wedged in between Mum and Dad in the front seat. There were no seat belts then either, of course. Anyway, I thought Dad was dozing as we drove along. I was terrified. I put my hand on the steering wheel to veer him back to the left-hand side of the road. Well, I didn't make that mistake again, I can tell you. Enough of that. There were no breathalyzers then either, I should say. There were glory days, and there were many, unfortunately, not so glorious days. There were carnivals, shows, Munster championships, All-Ireland championships. We saw places we had not seen before nor since through the dedication of our beloved Keame team. Places like England, Jersey, Sweden, Switzerland, even Australia and South Africa. But of course the culmination of their heroic efforts, as already said, had to be when the team from a little place called Keame were to represent our country in September 1975 in the 640k World Championships in Ibergen and Haxbergen in Holland. That was 50 years ago, as you know. What an achievement and what a memory. This brings me to the third team as I see it, the sometimes forgotten team. People like my mum, Vera, Noreen, Zita, and all the other wives and mothers who were not only washing the kit and the gear, but Sunday after Sunday prepared the sandwiches and the flasks, the baby bottles, and the children to take off to where to all these marathon outings. No, I'm a bit lost now. Of course, then the reason we're all here today is because of the fourth team. These are men like Pat Cronin, Batty, and I'm sure I'm leaving out somebody, apologies, the other people who had the foresight again and vision to have this memorial plaque erected and put in place. It is absolutely lovely indeed. I have no doubt there was a lot of planning, organisation and physical work involved in getting this all in place. And I suppose I should mention that it's fabulous to see, as already said, some of the geese, Johnny and Smalls, and then Bowley, and I think I saw one or two others. And I must mention my cousin Pat of the Rocks, of course. Fabulous to see him here. And now that we've mentioned a lot of the living, perhaps we should take a moment to remember the dead, Peachy and Mick Carney, and I have a list of names, Moss Hartnett, Jim Donovan, John Feary, Eddie and Nuala Hubbard, Jim Curtis, Tommy Elmore. You all have your own memories of different people. My uncle Dennis Collety, of course, with his Ballinspittle team. Anyway, to get back, on behalf of Nollig, Pordig and myself, congratulations and well done to all the team that put this fabulous plaque together, got us all together, and it's a great testament to the four men who started it all. Thank you for having me. Have a lovely day.
Thanks, Catherine. Councillor William O'Leary now will say a few words. Anything at all?
Look, just delighted to be here today. You know, it is a very momentous occasion, you know, and I know, you know, you've gotten a lot of the history there, you know, fantastic memories and something solid now to have in front of us to commemorate it by. Come on, sorry. They would want to look at the plaque, not me, you know. Look, something solid now to commemorate it by, and it'll last the test of time as well. And I suppose just over the last few weeks to thank Betty and Pat for the work they put in. You know, it was hard labour getting this done. And I suppose, look, enjoy the day. Enjoy Cades County, and hopefully we might see you over there. Yeah. Thank you. Yep.
Thanks, William. Colin Burke, TD, now will say a few words. He's not here, is he? Councillor Peter O'Donoghue, who's next in line to speak. He's not here either. We call on Frankie Flintsaw to say a few words, please. Frankie.
Cahirlock, Tána, awesome, a great Anish here in Keame. I'm delighted as chairperson of my municipal area to be here this evening. This is a great occasion. Because Keame, I suppose, is famous, but especially for tug of war. And the names here at the start, I know every single one of them. And I'm delighted the last one there, you have Petey there. I never went to for my marathon on a Tuesday, but you met Petey. And he definitely wasn't home by the time all the cattle were gone. And he was always a great man. He was very, very proud of Keame. Pat Buckley, I know him quite well. he lived in Castletown Roach, and the other people. Weren't they great people? A Glenville man that lived in Castletown Roach. Well done, and we were proud of it. But he was really and truly a Keame man, and he was very, very proud of tug of war. And anytime I'd often have a chat with him, and himself and his good wife, and his wife, of course, taught in the local school, looked after my good wife. So I'm delighted. It's very important that we remember what went before us. And the great occasion in 1960, when a few people came together to form that great club. And we heard here a while ago how strong you were. And I can tell you one thing, when Pat Lee said you were good, you definitely were good. Because there's no one as strong as him, you couldn't get into him. So I came up with us in a household of rugby. My brother Liam is here today, and Raymond, and you all know him well. And he pulled it for us, the opposition from I, and with in Wexford team, the famous bowling team. And it's great to see the Kehoes here. And that team went on to win many, many world championships. And the Kehoes, of course, you never went to ploughing championships, but they won it. And they won All Ireland, and they won world ploughing. And I'll never forget the first world ploughing that come to Ireland was in a place called Wellington Bridge, all the ways down. There was only a small way going to college at the time. But there's one thing I always want to say is this. Would you ever go to a festival or a carnival? And I was 10 years chairperson of my own festival committee in Glanmart. And the number one item always in the programme was tug of war. And then, of course, you also had to have the local pubs involved in the tug of war. And we got into more trouble over that because we didn't know who was pulling, who wasn't pulling. And then you got the ladies. Every show in Ireland, agriculture, there was tug of war. You never went to the cock show, but tug of war was involved. Even race meetings, sports meetings, but especially carnivals. And I'm delighted that you're remembering the people, and especially 50 years, and many, many of them are here, since 1975, when they represented this country in the World Championships. That was indeed a tremendous honour. I also remember the occasion in Fermoy when the European Championships came there. And I think they went on over the whole weekend. And we met people from all over the world. And that was a great, and all over Europe. So it was a great occasion. Still we see it in the, I've no doubt, today, with the tremendous crowd that's here. I know every single one of them nearly. They're from here and there. Tremendous turnout on this evening. And of course we must thank the men above for the good weather. And I hope after we but there's one thing I want to say. For a small local community, for the community council, which is a subcommittee set up, I want to compliment you most sincerely on this beautiful plaque. It will be always there for posterity. And often when the school bus goes up and down and people go for a walk, they'll stop and they'll think of the people that made Keame proud. And I want to congratulate you, and long may you continue. And we might hear the roar and shout of Keame have won.
Thanks, Frankie. John Ireland is next to say a few words if he's here. He's not here. Anyone else like to say anything? Barry? Would Bill Keogh like to say a few words? Bill Keogh, would you like to say a few words? Come on, Bill. No problem.
Honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't this look fantastic? It's absolutely fantastic. I was amazed to see it when I came down here, and it's an honour to be here to witness this. Keame will live on forever. You know, people see this plaque and stop and look at it and read the names. My first meeting with Keame was in '75. They were drawn in our group in the 640 in Kilteely in County Wexford. And it was some introduction to tug of war, I'll tell you that. There was nothing left on the sideline. Luckily we came out at the right side of it, but only just. And from then on, we went from strength to strength. We learned a lot that day, that you need power and patience. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bill. On behalf of Keame Tug of War, I'd like to thank all those that donated. Would Johnny Carroll say a few words on behalf of Keame Tug of War, please?
Thanks, excuse me. Thanks for inviting me. I haven't nothing prepared, but anyway, it's a pleasure to be here amongst such distinguished fellas, and it's an honour to be invited. I can go back to the 50 years, and inside that inch there, we got wicked hearts up against the Keame team. That's all I know. And it was a great, what to say, great privilege to be here amongst all those, and it's great to see it being honoured after 50 years. And I thank Betty for inviting me. Okay, thanks very much. Sorry I haven't a whole lot to say. Thanks.
Thanks, Johnny. On behalf of Keame Tug of War, I'd like to thank all those that have made donations, and to thank those that have not yet made the donations. We have 2 buckets going around there now in a minute, so whatever you'd like to contribute, everything is appreciated. Thanks very much, lads. We're going back to Kate's County after for a few sandwiches and a few pints. Thanks, lads.